The spiritual significance of constantly thinking about someone. Have you ever found yourself immersed in thoughts about someone, unable to push them out of your mind? Maybe it's that person who appears in your nightly dreams, or whose face pops into your mind at the most unexpected moments of the day. Sometimes it's someone you barely know. Other times it's a person who has been part of your life for years. But what does this constant presence in your thoughts mean? Is there something deeper behind it? Something that goes beyond what we can rationally understand? Many of us have experienced this intriguing sensation of having someone occupy our thoughts persistently. It's as if there's an invisible force connecting our minds, our hearts, our souls. And what if I told you that this connection is not mere coincidence, but a sign of something much more significant in our spiritual journey? Imagine for a moment that every thought we have about someone is like an invisible thread connecting us to that person. These threads intertwine, forming a complex web of connections that transcends time and space. This web, my dear reader, is the fabric of the spiritual universe, where our souls communicate in a language that goes beyond words. When we constantly think about someone, we are tuning our spiritual frequency to that person's. It's as if we're turning the dial of a cosmic radio, seeking the exact station where we can hear the melody of the other's soul. This tuning doesn't happen by chance. It's guided by a higher intelligence, a force that many of us call God. Let me share with you the story of Sarah, a 45-year-old woman who was living a seemingly ordinary life, but was about to discover the extraordinary power of these recurring thoughts. Sarah was a dedicated teacher, mother of 2 teenage children, and a loving wife. Her daily routine was filled with work responsibilities, family, and home. However, a few months ago, she began to notice something unusual. The face of Jessica, an old friend from high school, kept appearing constantly in her mind. At first, Sarah didn't give much importance to these thoughts. After all, it was natural for memories from the past to surface from time to time. But as the days went by, for the message. One night, as she prepared for bed, Sarah decided to do something different. Instead of trying to push away the thoughts about Jessica, she welcomed them. She closed her eyes and allowed the image of her old friend to fill her mind. It was at this moment of surrender that something extraordinary happened. Sarah felt a wave of warmth course through her body, as if a loving energy enveloped her. In her mind, she saw herself back in high school, talking with Jessica about their dreams and aspirations. She remembered how Jessica always talked about her desire to help people in need, to make a difference in the world. In that instant, Sarah understood that these recurring thoughts were not mere nostalgia. They were a call, a reminder from the universe about her own dormant dreams. Jessica represented not just a friendship from the past, but a reflection of Sarah's deepest desires, those she had set aside amidst the demands of adult life. With tears in her eyes, Sarah felt a deep gratitude. She understood that God was using these memories as an instrument to awaken something within her. It was as if the divine was whispering in her ear, "Remember who you are. Remember what you came to do in this world." If you, like Sarah, feel that there is a divine purpose behind every thought and experience in your life, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Together, we can explore more deeply these signs that the universe sends us and discover the hidden meaning behind our mental and spiritual connections. Sarah's story leads us to reflect on the power of the law of attraction in our lives. Have you ever stopped to think that perhaps your constant thoughts about someone are a way of attracting that person or what they represent to your life? The law of attraction teaches us that our thoughts are like magnets, attracting experiences and people who vibrate at the same frequency. When we repeatedly think about someone, we are emitting a specific energy to the universe. This energy, in turn, creates a resonance that can manifest in various ways in our reality. It can be through an unexpected encounter, a coincidental message, or even a series of events that lead us to an important revelation about ourselves or our life journey. In Sarah's case, her thoughts about Jessica were not just random memories. They were signs that her soul was ready to rediscover and embrace forgotten aspects of herself. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, used Jessica's image as a mirror to reflect Sarah's deepest desires. It's fascinating to think that our minds are constantly communicating with the universe, isn't it? Every thought we have is like a silent prayer, a request we send to the cosmos. And when these thoughts repeatedly focus on a specific person, it's as if we're opening a direct channel of communication with that person's energy. This leads us to the concept of soulmates or kindred souls. Many believe that there are people with whom we have a deep spiritual connection that transcends time and space. These connections can manifest in various ways, through romantic love, deep friendship, or even through a mentor or spiritual guide. When we constantly think about someone, it may be a sign that we are reconnecting with a soulmate. It's as if our souls are calling out to each other across the vast ocean of existence, seeking to reunite in this life. This connection may have a greater purpose, such as helping us grow, learn an important lesson, or fulfill a joint mission in this incarnation. It's important to note that these connections don't always result in conventional or long-lasting relationships on the physical plane. Sometimes, the purpose of this connection is simply to awaken something within ourselves, as happened with Sarah. Other times, it may be to prepare us for a future encounter, or to teach us something crucial about love, forgiveness, or personal growth. If this idea resonates with you, if you feel there's more to your mental connections than just random thoughts, I encourage you to leave a like on this video. Your support helps us continue sharing this inspiring content and reach more people who, like you, are seeking understanding and meaning in their spiritual experiences. Returning to Sarah's story, after her revelation, she decided to take action. Inspired by the memory of Jessica and the call she felt in her heart, Sarah began to get involved in volunteer work in her community. She organized an adult literacy project at the school where she taught and was surprised by the joy and fulfillment this work brought her. As Sarah opened herself to this new dimension of her life, she noticed subtle but significant changes around her. Her students seemed more engaged, her relationship with her children became closer, and she felt an inner peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. It was as if, by honoring the call of her soul, she had unlocked a source of blessings in her life. One day, while coordinating a reading session for her adult students, Sarah had an unexpected surprise. A new volunteer entered the room, and to her amazement, it was Jessica. The two friends reunited after so many years, both fulfilling the dream they shared in their youth of making a difference in people's lives. This reunion was not just a happy coincidence. It was the physical manifestation of a spiritual connection that had been nurtured through Sarah's thoughts. It was as if the universe had orchestrated this moment, uniting two souls that had a shared purpose. This story leads us to an important reflection. Who are the people who constantly occupy our thoughts? What might they be teaching us about ourselves, about our deepest desires, and about our life purpose? I invite you to do a simple but powerful exercise. Take a notebook and dedicate a few minutes to write about the person who has been occupying your thoughts the most recently. Don't judge or analyze, just let the words flow. Write about how you feel when you think about this person, what memories or emotions arise, what ideas or inspirations come to your mind. After writing, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Imagine that you are connecting with the essence of this person, not on the physical level, but on the soul level. What is this connection trying to tell you? What lesson might it be bringing to your life? This exercise of reflection and conscious connection can open doors to profound insights about your spiritual journey. It helps us tune in to the divine wisdom that is always guiding us. Often through these mental and emotional connections with other people, it's important to remember that while these recurring thoughts may have a deep spiritual meaning, we also need to be careful to distinguish between the calls of the soul and the attachments of the ego. Not every persistent thought about someone is necessarily a divine sign. Sometimes, our mind can get stuck in thought patterns that are more a reflection of our fears, insecurities, or egoic desires. How then can we differentiate between thoughts guided by the soul and those motivated by the ego? The key lies in the quality of energy these thoughts bring. Thoughts that come from the soul generally bring us a sense of peace, expansion, and inspiration. Even if they are challenging, they motivate us to grow, to be better, to connect more deeply with our divine essence and with others. On the other hand, thoughts that come from the ego tend to leave us anxious, fearful, or stuck in patterns of comparison and judgment. They can make us feel small, inadequate, or lead us to seek external validation. By practicing discernment between these two types of thoughts, we can open ourselves more fully to the messages that the universe is trying to convey to us through these mental connections. We can use these experiences as opportunities for personal growth and spiritual evolution, aligning ourselves more and more with our true nature and with divine will. At this point in our journey, I want to invite you to share this video with someone you believe also needs to hear this divine message. Sometimes, we are called to be instruments of the universe, transmitting wisdom and inspiration to those around us. Who knows, by sharing this message, you might be opening doors to a deep spiritual connection in someone else's life. As we advance in our exploration of the spiritual significance of constantly thinking about someone, it's important to remember that we are always in a process of growth and learning. Each thought, each connection, each experience is an opportunity to get closer to our true essence and the divine purpose for our lives. Think for a moment about all the people who have passed through your life. Some stayed for a brief moment, others remain to this day. Some left deep marks, others passed almost unnoticed, but each of them in some way contributed to shaping who you are today. Now imagine that each of these people is like a star in the vast sky of your existence. Some shine more intensely, others are just a distant glow, but all are part of the unique constellation that is your life, and that person you can't stop thinking about. They might be like a shooting star, crossing the sky of your mind, leaving a luminous trail of possibilities and revelations. This metaphor reminds us that we are all connected in a cosmic web of relationships and experiences. Each thought we have about someone is like a thread in this web, strengthening connections, creating patterns, revealing designs that we may not be able to see completely from our limited perspective. But what if we could, for a moment, see this web in all its glory? What if we could fully understand how each thought, each connection, fits into the grand divine plan? Perhaps then we would understand that there are no accidents in the universe, that each person who crosses our path, whether physically or just in thought, has a purpose in our journey. Returning to Sarah's story, we see how her reunion with Jessica was not just a happy coincidence, but the culmination of a process of spiritual alignment. Sarah's recurring thoughts about her old friend were like a call from the soul, preparing the ground for a reunion that would bring transformation not only to their individual lives, but to the entire community they would serve together. This is the true power of being attentive to our thoughts and mental connections. It's not just about satisfying a curiosity or trying to control the future. It's about opening ourselves to divine guidance, allowing ourselves to be instruments of God's will in our lives and in the lives of those around us. When we tune into this higher frequency, we begin to see the world in a different way. Coincidences become synchronicities. Casual encounters reveal themselves as divine appointments, and persistent thoughts about someone transform into portals for spiritual growth and the realization of our life purpose. But how can we cultivate this sensitivity, this openness to the signs and messages that the universe is constantly sending us? A powerful practice is daily meditation. Dedicate a few minutes each day to silence your mind, to connect with your inner self and with the divine presence that dwells within you. In this space of silence and stillness, you can begin to discern more clearly the whispers of your soul, separating them from the constant noise of your mind. Another valuable practice is keeping a spiritual reflection journal every night before going to sleep. Take a moment to write about the thoughts and connections that caught your attention the most during the day. Who appeared in your mind frequently? What emotions or insights arose from these thoughts? Over time, you may begin to see patterns emerging, revealing important themes and lessons in your spiritual journey. Prayer also plays a crucial role in this process. When you find yourself constantly thinking about someone, transform these thoughts into a prayer. It doesn't need to be elaborate or formal. It can be as simple as, "Kai God, please guide me to understand the meaning of this connection. Use it for the greater good, for my growth and for the growth of this person." This practice not only elevates your thoughts, but also aligns them with a higher loving intention. Remember, each person who occupies our thoughts is like a mirror, reflecting aspects of ourselves that we need to see, understand, or heal. Sometimes, we constantly think about someone because that person possesses qualities that we admire and wish to develop in ourselves. Other times, these thoughts may be alerting us to limiting patterns or beliefs that we need to overcome. For example, if you find yourself constantly thinking about someone who hurt you in the past, this may be a sign that it's time to work on forgiveness and emotional healing. If your thoughts revolve around someone you admire, it may be a call to cultivate those admirable qualities in your own life. It's fascinating to think that each mental connection we establish with another person is an opportunity for growth and transformation. It's as if the universe is constantly presenting us with mirrors, each reflecting a different facet of our spiritual journey. Returning to Sarah's story, we see how her recurring thoughts about Jessica were not just about Jessica herself, but about what she represented: dormant dreams, unrealized potential, a call to serve. By following these thoughts, Sarah not only reconnected with an old friend, but also with forgotten parts of herself. This leads us to a profound truth. Often, when we think we are seeking connection with another person, we are actually seeking a deeper connection with ourselves and with the divine. It's as if each person we think about is a piece of the puzzle of our own soul. Who has been occupying your thoughts lately? What might this person be teaching you about yourself? What aspects of your own divine nature might they be reflecting back to you? Remember, you are not alone on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Each of us is on a unique path, but we are all part of a great cosmic tapestry, where each thread, each connection, has its purpose and beauty. If this message resonates with you, if you feel there's more to your mental connections than just random thoughts, I encourage you to continue exploring, questioning, and seeking. The universe is always speaking to us through our experiences, our relationships, and yes, through our persistent thoughts about others. As we advance in our exploration, it's important to remember that the spiritual path is not linear. There will be moments of crystal clarity where everything seems to make sense, and moments of confusion and doubt. Both are equally valuable in our journey. When we find ourselves in periods of uncertainty, especially regarding our recurring thoughts about someone, it's helpful to return to the basics: love, compassion, and faith. Ask yourself, how can I approach these thoughts with love? How can I use this experience to grow in compassion, both for myself and for others? How can I trust that, even if I don't fully understand now, there is a divine purpose behind all of this? These questions help us maintain an elevated perspective, even when we don't have all the answers. They remind us that ultimately, we are all connected in a great cosmic web of divine love, where each thought, each connection, has the potential to lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe. By practicing this loving and compassionate approach to our thoughts and mental connections, we begin to create a sacred space within us, a space where we can hear more clearly the whispers of our soul and the guidance of the divine. Imagine this space as an inner garden where each thought is a seed. Some thoughts are like weeds, which we need to gently remove. Others are like delicate flowers, which we need to nurture and protect. And some, like our recurring thoughts about certain people, are like robust trees, with deep roots that extend into the realm of spirit. Tending to this inner garden is an act of self-love and reverence for the divine. It's an acknowledgement that our inner life is sacred, that our thoughts and connections are precious, and that through them, we can draw ever closer to our true divine nature. As we cultivate this garden, we may begin to see patterns emerging. Perhaps we notice that certain types of thoughts tend to arise at specific moments in our lives, or that certain people appear in our mind when we're facing particular challenges, or when we're on the threshold of a major change. These patterns are like maps, guiding us through the often nebulous territory of our spiritual journey. They help us better understand the cycles of our life, the recurring themes in our personal evolution, and the lessons our soul is seeking to learn in this incarnation. Returning once more to Sarah's story, we see how her recurring thoughts about Jessica were part of a larger pattern in her life. They arose at a moment when Sarah was ready to rediscover her passion for making a difference in others' lives. They were like a beacon, guiding her back to her life's purpose. This is the beauty and power of being attentive to our thoughts and mental connections. They can be like compasses, pointing us toward our spiritual true north. They can be like bridges, connecting us with forgotten aspects of ourselves or with people who have an important role to play in our journey. But, as with any journey, there are challenges along the way. Sometimes, we may feel overwhelmed by the intensity of our thoughts about someone. We may wonder if we're obsessed or if we're reading too much into things. It's in these moments that the practice of detachment becomes crucial. Detachment doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing our thoughts and feelings. On the contrary, it means observing them with loving curiosity, without fully identifying with them. It's as if we're watching a movie. We can become emotionally involved with the story, but we know we're not the characters on the screen. This practice of detachment allows us to maintain a broader perspective. It helps us see our mental connections not as something that defines or limits us, but as experiences we can use for our growth and spiritual evolution. At the same time, it's important to remember that not all recurring thoughts have a deep spiritual meaning. Sometimes they're simply the result of mental habits, mundane concerns, or passing desires. The key is to develop the discernment to distinguish between thoughts that are truly significant and those that are just mental noise. One way to cultivate this discernment is through regular mindfulness practice. As we become more aware of our thoughts and emotions moment by moment, we begin to recognize more easily which ones have a different quality, a deeper resonance that suggests a spiritual meaning. As we advance in our exploration of the spiritual significance of constantly thinking about someone, it's important to remember that each person will have a unique experience. What is true for one may not be for another. The important thing is to keep an open mind, a receptive heart, and a willingness to learn and grow through all our experiences, including our thoughts and mental connections. At this point in our journey, I invite you to reflect on your own experience. How do the insights we've shared today resonate with you? What new perspectives have you gained on your own recurring thoughts? How can you use these ideas to deepen your connection with yourself, with others, and with the divine? Remember, each thought, each mental connection is an opportunity for growth and transformation. Each person who occupies our mind is potentially a teacher, a mirror, a catalyst for our spiritual evolution. As we approach these experiences with openness, curiosity, and love, we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities for growth and fulfillment that the universe has to offer. And so, we come to the end of our exploration for today. But remember, this isn't really an end, but a new beginning. Each time we reflect on these ideas, each time we pay attention to our thoughts and connections, we're taking another step in our spiritual journey. May you continue to explore, to question, or to grow. May you remain open to the messages that the universe is constantly sending through your thoughts and connections, and may you find, in this exploration, an inexhaustible source of wisdom, love, and fulfillment. Always remember, you are not alone on this journey. We are all connected, all part of a great cosmic web of love and consciousness. Each thought we have, each connection we make, is an opportunity to strengthen this web, to draw closer to each other and to our true divine nature. May your mental connections always be a source of inspiration, growth, and love in your life, and may you continue to discover, day after day, the profound and transformative meaning of every thought, every feeling, every connection in your spiritual journey.